think from a contractor point of view, it's because you mentioned, going back 30 years, whatever, when Tony was a younger man. They
very kind of you. Yeah. I think you have to go back a bit more than 30, but yeah.
It was very brand specific.
Yes.
I think going forward, it's going to become more like that because just of the nature of the world we're in, social media plays a massive part of our lives, and influencers on there like Nick Bundy we mentioned,
and yourself. Don't sell yourself short.
Definitely not an influencer, but
well, you're on the way. Seriously.
Those people are very influencers. They're influential on people like myself and other contractors because and people like yourself obviously notice that, and that's why you work with those people because you're selling a good product and you want people to see that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not all of the products are good, but I like to think the influencers pick up on that and don't get involved.
Right.
So, I'm seeing on a regular basis, say, Nick using a particular brand of switch accessories, and it kind of gets in your mind a bit, and you end up using that yourself. And at the same time, from my point of view, because we use social media and YouTube quite a bit, you're so exposed, so you don't want to use a rubbish product.
Absolutely.
Because you will be judged for it.
Yeah. Well, there's accountability, right? Which I think is one of the big things that's missing. And that was something else that we touched on when you came in before, which was, we're not, this isn't like, let's get the pitchforks out and go on a witch hunt and really embarrass people. But, do we, you forced, or you're inviting a lot of accountability on yourself by putting the work that you do online for people to see, because anyone can go and look at that, and you get the some bored troll, for lack of a better term, who's just
warrior.
like, well, that's exactly. Yeah. Well, I would have done that differently. Okay, yeah, great. But people are able to just completely slander your work or praise it.
Yeah, there's for every one person out there that would say something good, there's 50 people that would say something bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of bored people in the world for sure.
Yeah. But that's the same with any sort of aspect of business.
Yeah.
We'll send out a link after every job we complete for a review on Google, for instance. Yeah. Very few of them actually do it.
Right.
Because but if you've done something bad, they're going to leave you a bad review, aren't they?
Yeah, of course they are.
But it's, so, I think the fact that we are just so much more exposed, it's sort of pushing us to actually go back into having specific brands, using a good quality product. And I said before, like, perhaps price isn't so much of a problem. It's more about what brand I want to use. Don't get me wrong. I still want the best possible price for that brand.
Oh, absolutely. Of course you do.
Yeah. So it's...
I mean, from my perspective, I think the 30 plus years, to get me back to a young man, brand was more important. And I do think that when we look at this, if we are trying to find a solution to why we don't talk enough or why we don't communicate enough, I think we do have to roll it all the way back and say, right, okay, what do we do collectively to raise the awareness to the people who are ultimately the recipient of your work, my product, your manufacture, that it can't just simply be about price, that there is a reason for a quality product. I bought a new house 25 years ago. It wasn't a cheap house. It was a modern house at the time. And I walked in the electrical accessories were the cheapest on the market. Absolutely, yeah. And I know that even today that's still happening.
Yeah,
that there is still, it's cheap as possible. Not illegal. Yeah, they're not illegal products. We're not talking about illegal products here. We are talking about products that are at the low end of a market. And there's an impact in that. There's an impact because they inevitably price driven. They are, in many cases, exceptionally low priced on on a scheme from the manufacturer, which means you virtually cannot compete against it with anything else. And we seem to find that acceptable. We seem to think that's okay. Because, the builder's got to make a profit and somebody else has got. But surely, we wouldn't apply that to food.
No,
yeah, very true.
We would not apply that to food. That the grocer's got to make a profit so he can sell rank vegetables. Or the butcher's got to make a profit. He can sell 6-week-old meat. We wouldn't accept it. We wouldn't find that acceptable. Yet somehow in the industry that we're in, and I'm not saying it's deliberate, but that's it is where we are, and we need if we're ever going to change it, we have to be honest about it and say it's less about who got us where, it's where are we? Yeah, because you can point fingers at everybody,
and it doesn't achieve anything.
And it achieves nothing.
Yeah.
It's about let's consider, is brand awareness the way to go? And therefore, if more brands become more selective in who they deal with, maybe that helps, because you have a scenario, whether we like it or not, where the vast majority, not all, but the vast majority of manufacturers, suppliers, will deal with anybody these days. When I was young, you had a franchise. I worked in a branch that had a Telemechanique franchise in a time when people couldn't even say Telemechanique.
Right.
Yeah, that French stuff. Yeah. And nobody in the entire county could get that other than through the designated wholesaler. As a result of that, a contractor like Theo could go to that wholesaler and get anything within that range off the shelf there and then. No, I can order it in for you, or I can get it for you. No, because that was their speciality.
Yeah.
Today, virtually any wholesaler can do anything. Yeah, there is no prerequisite to be good at it. It's just they can do it.
Yeah.
So I can do it well. Wholesaler D can do it badly but cheaper. And so you're constantly fighting that strategy that says, well, where's the fault? Is the fault with the supplier manufacturer that they're now being driven themselves for sale, and therefore every wholesaler in the town will do product X or Y? Is it because they became greedy? Is it because technology that we now have to deal with eliminated the mystique of being a franchise? Now anybody can see online the products. Anybody can get a price for a product, whereas years ago that wasn't the case. So for a wholesaler now, we become progressively jack of all trades and masters of none. And invariably, we're the jack of all trades when you want us to be masters. So why haven't you got this? Well, there's a reason we haven't. 10 years ago, we might have done. We might have had all of it. But time's moved on. Businesses are run differently, and you're almost in the small shop versus the big supermarket mold now. The small shop can sell you product, but they can't sell it as well as the big supermarket. But we accept that because maybe it's your convenience store. Maybe you don't live within 5 miles of a big supermarket, and therefore you judge, well, I'm not going to drive for 30 minutes to get a can of beans that are 2 pence or 5 pence cheaper. I'll just walk to the shop and get it. So we've kind of got an industry now where so much is common, so much is the same, that wholesalers in general are losing their identity beyond price.
Right.
Because, well, we can all do the same products pretty much. We can all do the same brands. We can all do it good or bad, but we can do it. Some of us are more expensive than others because we have overheads, we have support functions that we have to support. Yeah, some of us will give you the ability to and the integrity of a supply chain. Others won't because they can't. And you've got all of that complexity swirling around that is driving availability, it's driving price, and yet none of us can actually put our finger on where the origin of that is. What's actually driving it.